19. Black celebrities who had the most bizarre life stories. What if the biggest battles these legendary black stars faced didn't happen under the bright lights, but behind closed doors? Long before social media, they fought racism, political backlash, unfair treatment, and impossible choices that could have ended their careers forever. Some refused to stay silent. Others paid a heavy price for standing by their beliefs. In this video, we'll separate verified history from popular myths and uncover the real stories behind some of the most influential black entertainers of all time. Before we begin, subscribe to Golden Black Legends. Turn on notifications and don't forget to tell us in the comments which story shocked you the most and whose courage deserves more recognition today. Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier's journey to Hollywood greatness was never simply about becoming a successful actor. It was about breaking barriers that many believed could never be broken. Born in Miami in 1927 to Bahamian parents and raised on Cat Island in the Bahamas, Poitier arrived in the United States as a teenager with little formal education and struggled to adapt to American society. He worked menial jobs while teaching himself to read more fluently and refining his acting skills. His determination eventually earned him roles that challenged the racial stereotypes dominating Hollywood. Films such as The Defiant Ones, Lilies of the Field, A Patch of Blue, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, To Sir with Love, and In the Heat of the Night transformed him into one of cinema's most respected performers. In 1964, he became the first black actor to win the Academy Award for Best Actor, a historic achievement that permanently changed Hollywood. Behind that success, however, Poitier faced relentless racism. During the filming of In the Heat of the Night in 1967, production avoided certain parts of the American South because of racial hostility. Poitier also insisted that his famous scene in which Detective Virgil Tibbs slaps a wealthy white plantation owner remain in the film, refusing to portray a submissive black character. The moment became one of the most powerful scenes in American cinema and symbolized changing attitudes during the civil rights era. While Poitier did receive racist threats throughout portions of his career, there is no verified evidence supporting dramatic stories that he survived a sniper attack or secret assassination attempt during filming. Rather than responding with anger, Sidney Poitier answered prejudice with dignity, intelligence, and exceptional performances. His career opened doors for generations of black actors who followed, proving they could lead major Hollywood productions without compromising their identity. When he passed away in 2022 at the age of 94, he left behind more than an extraordinary film career. He left a legacy of courage, integrity, and quiet determination that continues to inspire audiences around the world. His greatest victory was not simply winning an Oscar, but forever changing how black excellence could be seen on the silver screen. Harry Belafonte. Harry Belafonte was far more than the king of Calypso. He was an artist who transformed international fame into a lifelong mission for justice, equality, and human dignity. Born in Harlem in 1927 to Caribbean parents and raised between New York and Jamaica, Belafonte discovered acting before finding worldwide success as a singer. His groundbreaking 1956 album Calypso became the first LP in history to sell more than 1 million copies, introducing classics such as Day-O, the Banana Boat Song, and Jamaica Farewell to audiences around the globe. Yet while millions admired his voice, Belafonte believed celebrity carried responsibilities beyond entertainment. Throughout the civil rights movement, Belafonte became one of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s closest friends and most trusted supporters. He quietly helped finance voter registration campaigns, civil rights organizations, protest marches, and the Freedom Riders, often paying expenses from his own earnings. He also assisted activists who struggled financially, sometimes providing housing and emergency support without seeking publicity. Because of these activities, Belafonte received countless racist threats and was closely monitored by government agencies during periods of intense political tension. However, while he endured intimidation and hostility, many sensational stories circulating online, such as collections of letters written in blood or elaborate assassination plots, have never been verified by credible historical evidence. Belafonte refused to allow fear to silence him. He continued speaking against racial injustice, apartheid in South Africa, poverty, and humanitarian crises throughout his life. Beyond music, he became a successful actor, producer, and global humanitarian, working with organizations including UNICEF and supporting campaigns for human rights across multiple continents. His influence reached far beyond entertainment, inspiring generations of artists to use their voices for meaningful social change. When Harry Belafonte passed away in 2023 at the age of 96, the world remembered not only an extraordinary performer but also a fearless advocate who understood that true greatness comes from serving others. His story reminds us that fame may open doors, but character determines what we choose to do once we walk through them. Dorothy Dandridge. Dorothy Dandridge's rise to Hollywood stardom was nothing short of extraordinary, yet every step towards success came with obstacles few of her peers ever had to face. Born in Cleveland, Ohio, in 1922, she began performing as a child alongside her sister before establishing herself as one of the most captivating actresses and singers of her generation. Her breakthrough arrived in 1954 with Carmen Jones, a performance that earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress, making her the first Black woman ever nominated in that category. The achievement should have opened unlimited opportunities, but Hollywood in the 1950s still offered very few leading roles to Black actresses regardless of talent. Behind the glamour, Dandridge constantly battled racial discrimination that shaped nearly every aspect of her career. While performing in prestigious venues, she frequently encountered segregated hotels, restaurants, and clubs. In Las Vegas, where she headlined sold-out performances, discriminatory policies often prevented Black entertainers from enjoying the same accommodations as white guests. Stories have circulated for decades claiming hotel staff drained an entire swimming pool after she touched the water. Although Dandridge unquestionably experienced severe racial discrimination, historians have found no reliable evidence confirming that specific incident. It has become one of many myths that overshadow the very real prejudice she endured. Professionally, Dandridge struggled against studio executives who repeatedly limited her opportunities. Rather than offering complex leading roles after Carmen Jones, Hollywood continued casting Black actresses in narrowly defined characters. Financial difficulties, a turbulent personal life, and the pressure of constant public scrutiny gradually took their toll. By the early 1960s, career opportunities had become increasingly scarce despite her extraordinary talent. Dorothy Dandridge died in 1965 at the age of only 42, leaving behind a legacy far greater than the number of films she completed. Today, she is remembered as a pioneer who broke racial barriers in American cinema through elegant determination and remarkable courage. Her story reminds us that true greatness is sometimes measured not only by awards won, but by the barriers shattered for generations who follow. Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor transformed comedy forever by doing something few entertainers had ever dared to attempt. He turned his deepest pain into unforgettable laughter. Born in Peoria, Illinois in 1940, Pryor grew up in an environment marked by poverty, violence, and instability. Rather than allowing those experiences to define him, he used them as material that revolutionized stand-up comedy. Through brutally honest storytelling, fearless social commentary, and remarkable character performances, Pryor became one of the most influential comedians in history. His groundbreaking concerts and films, including Silver Streak, Stir Crazy, and Brewster's Millions, inspired generations of performers from Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock to Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart. Despite his enormous success, Pryor privately struggled with addiction for many years. The darkest chapter of his life occurred on June 9, 1980, when during a period of severe drug abuse involving freebase cocaine, he ran from his Los Angeles home while engulfed in flames after setting himself on fire. Pryor later described the incident publicly, although accounts differed regarding exactly how the fire started. What is beyond dispute is that he suffered life-threatening burns across much of his body and spent months recovering in the hospital. Instead of hiding from the tragedy, Pryor eventually incorporated the experience into his stand-up performances. Audiences were stunned as he transformed one of the most horrifying moments of his life into deeply personal comedy. His willingness to confront addiction with honesty resonated with millions because it reflected genuine vulnerability rather than carefully crafted celebrity image. In later years, Pryor faced another enormous challenge after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 1986. Although the disease gradually limited his physical abilities, it never erased his sharp wit or his influence on American entertainment. Richard Pryor passed away in 2005 at the age of 65, but his legacy remains unmatched. His story proves that even after unimaginable hardship, honesty and resilience can leave a lasting impact. More than a comedian, Pryor became a symbol of survival, demonstrating that confronting painful truths often creates the most powerful art of all. Lena Horne. Lena Horne's career was defined by elegance, extraordinary talent, and a determination to challenge barriers that many believed could never be broken. Born in Brooklyn, New York in 1917, Horne began performing as a teenager at the legendary Cotton Club before building a successful career as both a singer and actress. By the early 1940s, she became one of Hollywood's most recognizable black performers after signing with MGM. Her stunning performances in films such as Cabin in the Sky and Stormy Weather captivated audiences, while her sophisticated image challenged long-standing racial stereotypes that had dominated American entertainment. Yet behind the glamour stood an artist forced to navigate an industry built on segregation and inequality. Unlike many white stars of her era, Horne was rarely allowed to play central characters in major Hollywood productions. MGM frequently cast her in standalone musical numbers that could easily be removed when films were shown in segregated theaters across the American South. She openly opposed these practices, refusing roles that portrayed black women as servants or racial caricatures. Horne also resisted studio pressure to alter her appearance to satisfy discriminatory beauty standards. Her willingness to challenge executives sometimes created professional tensions, but it also established her as one of Hollywood's earliest voices for dignity and equal representation. Beyond entertainment, Horne became deeply involved in the civil rights movement. She worked alongside organizations fighting racial discrimination, participated in the 1963 March on Washington, and supported leaders including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. During the McCarthy era, her political activism also attracted government scrutiny, making career opportunities more difficult at certain points. Nevertheless, there is no credible evidence supporting sensational stories that Hollywood secretly conspired to erase her career. The obstacles she faced were the very real consequences of institutional racism and political prejudice rather than hidden conspiracies. When Lena Horne passed away in 2010 at the age of 92, she left behind a legacy far greater than her remarkable performances. She transformed the image of black women in Hollywood, proving that grace, courage, and unwavering integrity could reshape an entire industry while inspiring generations of artists to follow. Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson was one of the most accomplished and courageous figures of the 20th century, combining extraordinary artistic talent with an unwavering commitment to justice. Born in Princeton, New Jersey in 1898, Robeson excelled in nearly every field he pursued. He was an outstanding scholar at Rutgers University, a professional football player, an accomplished lawyer, and eventually an internationally celebrated actor and bass baritone singer. His unforgettable performances in Showboat and powerful interpretations of spirituals and folk songs earned worldwide admiration. Yet Robeson believed his success carried a responsibility to confront injustice wherever he found it. Throughout the 1930s and 1940s, Robeson became an outspoken advocate for civil rights workers' rights, anti-colonial movements, and racial equality. His willingness to criticize discrimination in the United States and speak positively about aspects of the Soviet Union during the early Cold War made him a controversial figure in American politics. As anti-communist sentiment intensified during the McCarthy era, the US government subjected Robeson to extensive surveillance. In 1950, the State Department revoked his passport, preventing him from traveling internationally for nearly 8 years and severely limiting his ability to perform abroad. Concerts were cancelled, recording opportunities declined, and many organizations refused to host him because of political pressure. Unlike many exaggerated stories found online, these actions are thoroughly documented in government records and historical research. Robeson was not silenced by secret rumors, but by official policies that restricted his freedom during one of the most politically charged periods in American history. Even so, he refused to abandon his principles. Unable to travel, he continued performing whenever possible, including famous concerts held across the US-Canada border where audiences gathered on both sides to hear his voice. Paul Robeson died in 1976 at the age of 77, but history has largely vindicated his legacy. Today, he is remembered not only as one of America's greatest performers, but also as a fearless defender of human rights. His story demonstrates that true greatness is measured not simply by talent, but by the courage to stand for justice, even when doing so comes at tremendous personal cost. Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix revolutionized modern music with a guitar style that remains unmatched more than 5 decades after his death. Born in Seattle in 1942, Hendrix spent years performing in small clubs before moving to London in 1966, where his career exploded almost overnight. With the Jimi Hendrix Experience, he released groundbreaking albums including Are You Experienced, Axis, Bold as Love, and Electric Ladyland. Songs like Purple Haze, Foxy Lady Little Wing, and All Along the Watchtower showcased his extraordinary ability to blend blues, rock, soul, and psychedelic sounds into something entirely original. His unforgettable performance of the Star-Spangled Banner at Woodstock in 1969 became one of the defining moments of American music history. Despite worldwide fame, Hendrix struggled with the pressure of constant touring, demanding recording schedules, and legal disputes involving former management. He was eager to move beyond the image of a flashy rock guitarist and planned to explore jazz, funk, and more experimental music with new collaborators. Friends often described him as thoughtful, soft-spoken, and deeply committed to artistic growth rather than celebrity. On September 18, 1970, Hendrix died in London at the age of just 27 after accidentally choking on his own vomit following the combined effects of sleeping medication and alcohol. His death was officially ruled accidental. Although conspiracy theories have circulated for decades, no credible evidence has proven claims that he was murdered or silenced by the music industry. The documented facts point to a tragic accident that ended one of the most innovative careers in music history. Today, Jimi Hendrix remains an enduring symbol of creativity and fearless experimentation. His influence can still be heard in rock, blues, funk, jazz, hip-hop, and countless other genres. His story reminds us that true genius is not measured by the length of a career, but by the lasting impact it leaves on generations to come. Sammy Davis Jr. Sammy Davis Jr. overcame extraordinary challenges to become one of the greatest entertainers America has ever produced. Born in Harlem, New York in 1925, he entered show business as a child with the Will Mastin Trio, quickly mastering singing, dancing, acting, comedy, and multiple musical instruments. His remarkable versatility eventually made him one of the brightest stars of the Red Pack, alongside Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, Davis captivated audiences in Las Vegas, Broadway productions, television specials, and Hollywood films, proving that talent could overcome barriers many believed impossible to break. One of the defining moments of his life came in 1954 when he was seriously injured in a car accident while driving from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. The crash cost him his left eye, forcing him to wear a glass eye for the rest of his life. Rather than allowing the tragedy to end his career, Davis returned to the stage with even greater determination. His trademark confidence, stylish appearance, and unforgettable performances inspired millions who admired his resilience. Beyond physical hardship, Davis also endured relentless racial discrimination. During much of his career, he performed in luxury hotels and casinos where black entertainers were often not allowed to stay as guests. He also faced criticism for his interracial marriage and his close friendships with prominent white entertainers during a deeply divided era. Yet he refused to let prejudice define his future, continuing to break barriers with professionalism and remarkable talent. Sammy Davis Jr. died in 1990 after battling throat cancer, but his legacy remains timeless. He demonstrated that perseverance, discipline, and optimism could overcome even the harshest obstacles. Today, he is remembered not only as an extraordinary performer, but as a trailblazer whose courage helped reshape opportunities for generations of black entertainers who followed. Hattie McDaniel. Hattie McDaniel changed Hollywood forever, even though the industry often refused to treat her as an equal. Born in Kansas in 1893, she began her career as a singer and radio performer before moving into film during the 1930s. Despite possessing remarkable talent, she was frequently offered roles as maids or servants because those were among the few parts available to black actresses at the time. Instead of giving up, McDaniel accepted those limited opportunities and infused every performance with dignity, intelligence, and unforgettable screen presence. Her portrayal of Mammy in Gone with the Wind earned her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in 1940, making her the first black performer ever to win an Oscar. That historic achievement, however, came with heartbreaking realities. Due to segregation laws, McDaniel was not permitted to sit with her fellow cast members during the Academy Awards ceremony at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. She was placed at a separate table near the back of the room after special permission was granted for her to attend. Although she accepted her Oscar with grace and delivered a memorable speech, the moment reflected both extraordinary success and painful discrimination. McDaniel also faced criticism from parts of the black community, including civil rights organizations, for portraying servant characters. She defended her choices by explaining that she preferred earning a living playing a maid on screen rather than working as one in real life. Her response reflected the limited opportunities available to black performers during that era and the difficult decisions many artists were forced to make. Hattie McDaniel passed away in 1952 at the age of 59, but her influence continues to grow. Today, she is recognized as a trailblazer who opened doors for countless black actors and actresses. Her legacy reminds us that true pioneers often succeed despite barriers that later generations can scarcely imagine. Josephine Baker. Josephine Baker was much more than an international entertainer. She became a symbol of courage, freedom, and resistance, whose life extended far beyond the stage. Born in St. Louis, Missouri in 1906, Baker experienced poverty and racial discrimination before moving to France in the 1920s. There, she quickly became one of Europe's biggest stars, captivating audiences with her singing, dancing, and charismatic performances. While she found fame overseas, she never forgot the injustice she had experienced in the United States. During World War II, Baker used her celebrity in extraordinary ways. Working with the French resistance, she secretly carried military intelligence hidden in sheet music and invisible ink while traveling across Europe under the guise of an entertainer. Her bravery earned her some of France's highest honors, including the Croix de Guerre and the Legion of Honor. After the war, Baker continued fighting for equality by supporting the American civil rights movement. She refused to perform before segregated audiences and became one of the few women to speak at the 1963 March on Washington alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Because of her outspoken activism, Baker attracted attention from US authorities, and FBI files documented years of surveillance. However, contrary to sensational stories found online, there is no credible evidence supporting elaborate conspiracy theories surrounding her career. The documented facts are already remarkable enough, showing a woman who risked her life for freedom while using her fame to challenge discrimination. Josephine Baker passed away in 1975 at the age of 68, only days after celebrating the 50th anniversary of her career with a triumphant stage performance in Paris. Today, she is remembered not only as a legendary entertainer, but also as a war hero, humanitarian, and civil rights icon whose extraordinary life proved that fame can become a powerful force for justice. Diahann Carroll. Diahann Carroll helped redefine what Black women could achieve on American television and in Hollywood. Born in New York City in 1935, she first gained attention as a gifted singer before expanding into film, Broadway, and television. Her elegance, intelligence, and remarkable acting ability set her apart during a period when meaningful opportunities for Black actresses remained extremely limited. In 1968, Carroll made television history by starring in Julia, becoming the first Black woman to lead a network television series, in a role that was not based on racial stereotypes or domestic service. Although Julia represented a major breakthrough, Carroll often found herself balancing historic progress with criticism from multiple directions. Some civil rights activists believed the series presented an overly idealized image of Black life, while others praised it for showing a professional Black woman in a leading role during a transformative period in American history. Carroll accepted the criticism, but remained committed to expanding opportunities for future generations rather than limiting herself to roles defined by prejudice. Throughout her career, Carroll also encountered racial discrimination behind the scenes. Despite her talent and popularity, she frequently had to fight for equal treatment, better roles, and fair recognition within an industry that still favored white performers. Unlike fictional stories that describe elaborate kidnapping attempts or mysterious attacks, the real challenges she faced were the systemic barriers confronting many Black entertainers of her generation. Diahann Carroll continued building an extraordinary career for more than 6 decades, earning a Tony Award, a Golden Globe, and numerous Emmy nominations while inspiring generations of actresses who followed. She passed away in 2019 at the age of 84, leaving behind a legacy defined by grace, resilience, and historic achievement. Her story proves that lasting change often begins with one person courageous enough to step through a door that had long been closed. Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was more than a heavyweight boxing champion. He became one of the most influential public figures of the 20th century. Born Cassius Clay in Louisville, Kentucky in 1942, Ali captured the world heavyweight title in 1964 after defeating Sonny Liston. Shortly afterward, he embraced Islam and changed his name to Muhammad Ali, explaining that he wanted to reject the identity imposed during slavery. His confidence, lightning-fast footwork, and unforgettable words made him a global sports icon, but it was his principles outside the ring that truly defined his legacy. In 1967, at the height of his career, Ali refused induction into the US Army during the Vietnam War, citing his religious beliefs and opposition to the conflict. His decision sparked nationwide controversy. He was stripped of his heavyweight championship, his boxing license was suspended, and he was barred from competing for more than 3 years during what should have been the prime of his career. Many media outlets criticized him harshly, and some Americans viewed him as unpatriotic. Yet Ali remained firm, accepting enormous personal and financial sacrifices rather than abandoning his convictions. Contrary to sensational claims sometimes found online, Ali's hardships were not the result of secret conspiracies. They stemmed from well-documented legal and political conflicts that reflected the deeply divided climate of the United States during the 1960s. In 1971, the US Supreme Court unanimously overturned his conviction, clearing his name and allowing him to continue boxing. He returned to reclaim the heavyweight title twice more, including his legendary victories over George Foreman and Leon Spinks. After retiring, Ali dedicated much of his life to humanitarian work while courageously battling Parkinson's disease. His appearance lighting the Olympic cauldron at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics became one of the most emotional moments in sports history. Muhammad Ali passed away in 2016 at the age of 74, leaving behind a legacy built not only on championships but on courage, integrity, and the willingness to stand for his beliefs regardless of the cost. Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle transformed himself from an independent rapper into one of the most respected entrepreneurs and community leaders in modern hip-hop. Born Ermias Joseph Askedom in Los Angeles in 1985, he grew up in South Central, where gang violence and poverty shaped daily life. Instead of allowing those circumstances to define his future, he used music to tell authentic stories about perseverance, ambition, and self-improvement. Through acclaimed mixtapes such as Bullets Ain't Got No Name Crenshaw and Mailbox Money, Nipsey built a loyal following before releasing his Grammy-nominated debut album Victory Lap in 2018. Unlike many artists who left their neighborhoods after finding success, Nipsey invested heavily in the community that raised him. He opened the Marathon clothing store, supported technology education through Vector 90, created job opportunities, and encouraged financial literacy and entrepreneurship among young people. His goal was not simply to become wealthy, but to help others build lasting economic independence. These efforts earned admiration far beyond the music industry. On March 31, 2019, Nipsey Hussle was fatally shot outside his Marathon clothing store in Los Angeles. The shooter, Eric Holder, was later arrested, convicted of first-degree murder, and sentenced to prison. Although numerous conspiracy theories have circulated online suggesting hidden motives or secret organizations, no credible evidence has supported those claims. Court proceedings and the criminal investigation concluded that the killing resulted from a personal dispute between the two men. Nipsey's death shocked fans around the world, but it also highlighted the enormous impact he had made in just a few years. Thousands attended his public memorial at Staples Center, while leaders, athletes, musicians, and community members praised his commitment to positive change. Today, Nipsey Hussle is remembered not only for his music, but for proving that success means little unless it creates opportunities for others. His legacy continues, inspiring entrepreneurs, artists, and young people determined to improve their communities. Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory used comedy as a weapon against injustice, becoming one of the first black comedians to successfully challenge racism on mainstream American stages. Born in St. Louis, Missouri in 1932, Gregory overcame poverty before serving in the U.S. Army and beginning a career in stand-up comedy. During the early 1960s, his intelligent, fearless routines attracted national attention because he openly confronted segregation, discrimination, and political hypocrisy at a time when many entertainers avoided controversial subjects. His breakthrough performances opened doors for future comedians who believed humor could expose uncomfortable truths. As his popularity grew, Gregory devoted increasing attention to the civil rights movement. He marched alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., participated in voting rights campaigns, and was arrested multiple times while protesting racial injustice. His activism often came at a professional cost. Television appearances became less frequent, commercial opportunities declined, and he was monitored by government agencies because of his outspoken political views. These challenges are well documented and reflected the intense social tensions of the era rather than secret conspiracies. Gregory later expanded his work into writing, public speaking, nutrition advocacy, and humanitarian causes. He authored several books discussing race politics, health, and American society, remaining an influential voice for decades. Although some people disagreed with his opinions, few questioned his willingness to speak honestly regardless of the consequences. Throughout his life, Gregory demonstrated that entertainment could become a platform for meaningful social change. Rather than separating comedy from activism, he combined the two in ways that inspired future generations of performers, including Richard Pryor, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, and many others. Dick Gregory passed away in 2017 at the age of 84, leaving behind a legacy built on courage, intelligence, and unwavering commitment to justice. His story reminds us that sometimes the most powerful truth is delivered with a smile, but its impact can last for generations. Moms Mabley. Moms Mabley was one of the most groundbreaking comedians in American entertainment, using humor to challenge racism, sexism, aging, and social injustice decades before such topics became common in mainstream comedy. Born Loretta Mary Aiken in North Carolina. In 1894, she left home as a teenager after experiencing personal tragedy and eventually found success performing on the black vaudeville circuit known as the Chitlin Circuit. Adopting the stage persona of an elderly woman wearing oversized dresses, floppy hats, and missing teeth, Mabley cleverly disguised sharp political commentary beneath an appearance audiences initially underestimated. Her unique style allowed her to say things on stage that many others could not, making her one of the first black female comedians to achieve national recognition. Throughout the 1940s, 1950s, and 1960s, Mabley became a regular attraction at the Apollo Theater in Harlem and appeared on television programs at a time when opportunities for black performers remained extremely limited. Her jokes often targeted racial discrimination, economic inequality, and the hypocrisy of American society. While audiences embraced her fearless honesty, some television executives and promoters considered her material too controversial, limiting certain appearances and commercial opportunities. These challenges reflected the realities of racial prejudice during the era rather than any secret campaign to silence her. Away from the spotlight, Mabley also lived a deeply private life. Although she never publicly discussed her sexuality, historians widely acknowledge that she had relationships with women, making her one of the earliest known LGBTQ+ figures in American entertainment. At a time when such openness could have destroyed a career, she chose discretion while allowing her comedy to speak for itself. Moms Mabley passed away in 1975 at the age of 81, leaving behind a legacy that transformed stand-up comedy forever. Long before social commentary became common on stage, she proved that laughter could expose injustice, challenge prejudice, and inspire meaningful change. Today, countless comedians continue to build upon the path she courageously created. Abbey Lincoln. Abbey Lincoln combined extraordinary musical talent with fearless social activism, becoming one of the most respected voices in jazz and one of its strongest advocates for dignity and equality. Born Anna Marie Wooldridge in Chicago in 1930 and raised in Michigan, she began singing in local clubs before moving to California and eventually New York, where her rich voice and emotional depth quickly attracted attention. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, Lincoln developed a career distinguished by thoughtful interpretations of jazz standards as well as original compositions that explored identity, justice, and the black experience. Her collaboration with drummer Max Roach on the landmark 1960 album We Insist Freedom Now Suite became one of the defining artistic statements of the civil rights movement. Lincoln refused to separate music from social responsibility. Her outspoken support for racial equality sometimes created professional challenges during an era when many record companies preferred politically neutral performers. Some commercial opportunities diminished because of her activism, but she remained committed to using her voice to confront injustice rather than simply entertain audiences. Unlike sensational stories found online, there is no verified evidence that she was secretly blacklisted by hidden forces. The difficulties she encountered reflected the broader realities faced by outspoken black artists during the civil rights era. In addition to music, Lincoln established herself as a respected actress through films such as Nothing But a Man and For Love of Ivy. She consistently portrayed intelligent, independent women, helping reshape Hollywood's representation of black female characters. Her work earned admiration from fellow musicians and actors who appreciated both her artistic integrity and unwavering principles. Abby Lincoln passed away in 2010 at the age of 80, leaving behind a body of work defined by honesty, courage, and compassion. Today, she is remembered not only as an exceptional jazz vocalist, but also as an artist who believed music should inspire reflection, challenge injustice, and encourage hope for a more equal world. Ruby Dee. Ruby Dee built an extraordinary career that blended artistic excellence with unwavering commitment to civil rights. Born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1922 and raised in Harlem, she developed a passion for acting while studying at Hunter College before joining the American Negro Theater. Her remarkable talent soon led to acclaimed performances on Broadway television and filmmaking, her one of the most respected actresses of her generation. Together with her husband Ossie Davis, Ruby became one of the most influential couples in American entertainment, admired not only for their performances, but also for their lifelong dedication to social justice. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, Dee consistently accepted roles that portrayed black women with intelligence, dignity, and emotional complexity rather than relying on stereotypes. Her performances in productions such as A Raisin in the Sun, both on Broadway and in the acclaimed 1961 film adaptation, demonstrated that black stories deserved the same depth and respect as any other. Yet, her activism often brought professional consequences. Dee and Davis openly supported the civil rights movement, participated in the 1963 March on Washington, and maintained close friendships with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Their outspoken positions occasionally resulted in government scrutiny and fewer opportunities during politically sensitive periods. Despite these challenges, Ruby Dee never abandoned her principles. She believed artists carried a responsibility to improve society by speaking honestly about injustice. Rather than allowing discrimination to define her career, she transformed every obstacle into motivation for stronger performances and greater public service. Over the following decades, she earned numerous honors, including an Academy Award nomination for American Gangster in 2008, proving that her talent remained timeless. Ruby Dee passed away in 2014 at the age of 91 after more than 6 decades in entertainment. Her legacy extends far beyond acting, reminding audiences that true greatness comes from combining remarkable artistic achievement with compassion, integrity, and the courage to stand beside those fighting for equality. Brock Peters. Brock Peters built one of the most respected careers in American film and theater, overcoming racial barriers through extraordinary talent, perseverance, and quiet determination. Born George Fisher in New York City in 1927, he began his career as a singer before discovering his true calling as an actor. During the 1950s and 1960s, opportunities for black performers remained severely limited, with Hollywood often offering stereotypical roles that failed to reflect the complexity of black life. Peters refused to allow those limitations to define him, choosing projects that emphasized dignity, intelligence, and humanity. His breakthrough came in 1962 with To Kill a Mockingbird, where he portrayed Tom Robinson, an innocent black man falsely accused of assaulting a white woman. His emotionally powerful performance became one of the most memorable in cinema history and remains a defining portrayal of racial injustice. Although the film earned widespread acclaim, Peters still faced the harsh realities of discrimination within the entertainment industry. Meaningful leading roles for black actors remained scarce, and many gifted performers struggled to secure consistent work despite critical praise. Rather than accepting defeat, Peters continued building a diverse career across film, television, and theater, appearing in productions such as Soylent Green, The Lonesome Dove series, and later becoming familiar to millions through his recurring role as Admiral Cartwright in the Star Trek franchise. Unlike many sensational stories found online, there is no evidence that Brock Peters was secretly blacklisted by Hollywood. The obstacles he encountered reflected the systemic racial inequalities that affected countless black actors during his generation. His perseverance demonstrated that excellence could gradually reshape an industry resistant to change. When Brock Peters passed away in 2005 at the age of 78, he left behind a remarkable body of work built on integrity, professionalism, and compassion. Today, he is remembered as an actor who elevated every role he accepted while helping expand opportunities for future generations of black performers. His legacy reminds us that lasting influence often comes not from fame alone, but from consistently choosing dignity over compromise. Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt lived one of the most remarkable and resilient lives in entertainment history, transforming hardship into international success while refusing to remain silent in the face of injustice. Born in South Carolina in 1927, Kitt endured an extremely difficult childhood marked by poverty and discrimination before joining the Katherine Dunham Dance Company as a teenager. Her extraordinary talent soon took her around the world, where she developed into an internationally celebrated singer, actress, dancer, and cabaret performer. With unforgettable songs like Santa Baby C'est Bon and I Want to Be Evil, combined with her distinctive voice and magnetic stage presence, Eartha Kitt became one of the most recognizable entertainers of her era. One of the most significant turning points in her career came in January 1968 when she attended a White House luncheon hosted by First Lady Lady Bird Johnson. During an open discussion about juvenile delinquency, Kitt passionately criticized the Vietnam War, arguing that young Americans were being sent to fight overseas while social problems at home were ignored. Her comments shocked many political leaders and generated immediate national controversy. Soon afterward, invitations to perform in the United States declined dramatically, and for several years she found far more opportunities working in Europe than in her home country. This professional setback has been well documented by historians and was closely connected to the political climate of the time rather than secret conspiracy theories. Rather than allowing criticism to silence her, Kitt rebuilt her career through determination and exceptional talent. She later returned to Broadway television and film, earning Emmy nominations, Grammy nominations, and widespread admiration for her resilience. She also became beloved by younger audiences through her memorable role as Yzma in Disney's The Emperor's New Groove. Eartha Kitt passed away in 2008 at the age of 81, leaving behind a legacy defined by courage, independence, and artistic brilliance. Her story demonstrates that speaking honestly may carry consequences, but integrity often becomes an artist's greatest achievement. Every one of these legends proved that the greatest battles are not always fought on stage or in front of a camera. Behind the applause were stories of discrimination, sacrifice, courage, and resilience that shaped history as much as their incredible talent. While some rumors have grown over time, the verified facts are powerful enough to remind us how much these pioneers endured to change the entertainment industry forever. Now, it's your turn. Whose story moved you the most, and which Black legend do you believe overcame the greatest injustice? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for golden Black legends so you never miss another unforgettable story.